1. We're checking out this sweet 1979 Chevy C10 I found on Craigslist for $11,500. Let me tell you, these classic C10s are becoming increasingly desirable, and this one's got some interesting features to talk about. We're looking at a clean title truck with the straight-six engine. Not the V8 that everyone typically expects, but these inline sixes are actually known for their reliability and torque. The odometer shows 98,000 original miles, which honestly isn't bad at all for a 44-year-old workhorse. It's rocking a blue paint job and comes with some creature comforts like AC and an automatic transmission, which makes it a more practical daily driver. Now, $11,500 might seem a bit steep to some, but given the current market for classic trucks and the fact that it's in good condition according to the seller, it's not completely out of line. These C10s have a huge following, and parts availability is excellent if you need to fix or modify anything. The straight six might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it could be perfect for someone who wants a classic truck with decent fuel economy. Just remember, as with any classic vehicle, you'll want to do a thorough inspection before pulling the trigger. 2. We're looking at a pretty interesting 1983 Chevy C10 that's caught my eye at $12,200. Now this isn't just any C10. We're talking about a one-family-owned truck with some serious history behind it, maintained by a GM mechanic since day one. Let's be real here. It's got the legendary 350 V8 under the hood, paired with the reliable 700 R4 transmission, which is a solid powertrain combo. The odometer has rolled over, showing 200k miles, but don't let that scare you. These trucks were built to last. What's really cool here is all the power options. We're talking power steering, brakes, windows, and locks, plus tilt steering, cold AC, cruise control, and even delay wipers. The dual fuel tanks are a nice bonus for long trips. The 342 locker differential is great for anyone who needs some extra grip. Now let's be honest about the downsides. The seller straight up admits it needs a new paint job, and that brown color isn't winning any beauty contests. But here's the thing. You're getting a mechanically sound truck that's been professionally maintained its entire life, plus a bunch of spare parts thrown in. For $12,200 OBO, considering today's classic truck market and the fact that it's been maintained by a GM mechanic, it's not a bad deal if you're okay with investing in some cosmetic work. These square-body C10s are only going up in value, and finding one with this kind of documented history is pretty rare. Just remember, you might need to budget for that paint job to really make it shine. 3. We're checking out this interesting 1971 Ford F100 that's listed for $12,000. Let me tell you about this classic piece of American iron. What we've got here is a survivor with the beefy 360 V8 engine. That's a strong, torquey motor that Ford built these trucks with, and the seller says it's running good. With 87,000 miles showing on the odometer, it's actually got relatively low mileage for a 52-year-old truck. What really catches my attention here is that this F100 still has all its original trim and interior. That's pretty rare for these old workhorses. Even better, the seller has kept all the original paperwork from 1971, which is absolutely gold for collectors and adds real value to the truck. The automatic transmission and power steering make it more comfortable to drive than many other trucks from this era. Now, $12,000 might seem like a chunk of change, but in today's classic truck market, it's actually in the ballpark for a complete running F100 with its original components. These early 70s Fords are gaining popularity among collectors, and finding one with original paperwork and trim is getting harder every year. Just keep in mind that like any 50-year-old vehicle, you'll want to give it a thorough inspection before making a deal. But with that original documentation and complete trim package, this could be a solid investment for the right buyer. Remember, they're only original once. 4. We're looking at something really special, a 1970 Chevy CST, custom sport truck, that's popped up for $16,500. Let me tell you, this isn't your average C10. We're talking about a one-owner, family-owned CST with its original paint still intact. These CSTs were basically the luxury trim level of their day, and this one's loaded with all the goodies. What makes this truck really stand out is that it's unmolested and original. We've got matching numbers on that 350 V8 paired with the turbo 350 automatic transmission. The odometer shows just 35,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a 53-year-old truck. It's got the deluxe interior with bucket seats and console. That's the fancy stuff for 1970. Plus, all the chrome trim is there, including those distinctive upper and lower moldings that really make these CSTs pop. The factory tack, power steering, and AC are all present, which makes this a pretty rare bird. Finding a long bed CST that's been in the same family since new, still wearing its original paint, and with all these options. That's like finding a needle in a haystack. Now about that $16,500 asking price. In today's market, for an original unmolested CST with this kind of history and options list, it's actually pretty fair. These trucks are becoming serious collector's items, and original examples are getting harder to find every year. The seller mentions it runs and drives, which is exactly what you want to hear with a classic like this. 5. We're checking out this interesting 1976 GMC C25 Sierra Grande that's up for grabs at $5,600. Let me tell you, this is one of those trucks where someone's clearly put in the work. The odometer shows 15K but has rolled over, which is expected for a truck of this age. What really catches my attention here is the massive list of new parts. Whoever owned this truck wasn't messing around with maintenance. We're looking at a 350 V8 5.0L, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, which is a pretty fun combo in these old workhorses. The entire front end has been rebuilt with new control arms, tie rods, idler arm, pitman arm, and Rancho shocks all around. That's some serious suspension work. The mechanical updates don't stop there. We're talking new ignition components, valve cover gaskets, belts, cooling system parts, and brake components. They've even upgraded to modern 16-inch wheels from a 2001 Sierra with new Nexen HT tires, which is actually a pretty smart upgrade for better tire availability. Now at $5,600, considering all the fresh parts and work that's gone into it, this could be a solid deal for someone looking for a classic work truck that's been mechanically sorted. Sure, it's not a show queen, but these C25s were built to work, and with all these new components, it should be ready to keep doing just that. Remember folks, finding a classic truck with this much recent maintenance at this price point isn't common these days. If you're looking for a sturdy old-school hauler that's had the important bits addressed, this one deserves a look. 6. We're looking at a 1972 Ford F250 Camper Special that's listed for $8,500. Let me be straight with you about this one. It's a pretty bare-bones listing, but there are some interesting points to consider. First off, this is a camper special, which means it came with heavier-duty suspension components from the factory to handle camper loads. The big news here is the recently rebuilt 390 V8. That's a torque monster of an engine that Ford put in these trucks, and paired with the 4-speed manual transmission, it makes for a proper old-school driving experience. Now, let's be real here. The seller mentions it's in decent shape for a 72, which typically means it's showing it's 51 years of age. The odometer's broken, so the 90,000 miles shown might not tell the whole story. The seller's pretty brief description suggests this is more of a what you see is what you get situation. At $8,500 OBO, you're mainly paying for that rebuilt 390 engine and the increasingly rare camper special package. These trucks are getting harder to find, especially with the big 390, but you'll want to do a thorough inspection before pulling the trigger. The OBO, or best offer, suggests there might be some room for negotiation. Remember folks, while these old Ford trucks are built tough, they're still half-century-old vehicles. If you're looking for a classic work truck with a freshly rebuilt big block, this could be worth checking out. Just make sure to look it over carefully. 7. Let's talk about this 1975 GMC C10 that's popped up for $6,800. Now, I've got to be straight with you. This is definitely a project truck, but there's some real potential here. First, the good stuff. It's got a new 350 crate engine paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, which is a fantastic combo for these trucks. The seller got it from the original owner, which helps with the history, and the odometer shows 88K, though it's rolled over. Being a 75, it's smog exempt, which is always a plus for modification possibilities. Now let's be honest about what you're getting into. There's rust, and the seller's upfront about it. But here's where it gets interesting. They've already collected a bunch of replacement parts you'll need for the restoration. We're talking floor pan, lower quarter panels, battery box, tailgate handle, seat cover, door latches, muffler, and flywheel cover. That's actually a pretty decent parts package to get started with. At $6,800, you're essentially buying a solid platform with a fresh crate engine, manual transmission, and a pile of restoration parts. For someone looking to dive into a classic truck project, this could be a smart buy. The expensive mechanical work is done, and you've got the parts to tackle the cosmetic issues. 8. We're checking out something pretty special. A 1985 Dodge D250 that's asking $12,000. And let me tell you, this one's worth paying attention to. What we've got here is a California truck that's been properly preserved and recently brought back to life with some serious care. The heart of this beast is the reliable 318 V8 paired with an automatic transmission. And check this out. It's showing just 46,095 miles. Being a California truck explains the absence of rust, which is huge for these old Dodges. This isn't just some barn find that's been dragged out and listed. The current owner has gone through this truck systematically with a fine-tooth comb. Let's talk about the recent work because it's impressive. Fresh paint job with a spray-in bed liner, new tires, complete ignition system overhauled including distributor and plug wires, rebuilt carb, new radiator, and a thorough brake rebuild with new bearings and seals. They even tackled all the electrical gremlins that usually plague these old trucks. New turn signal switch, flasher switch, and all the rear lighting components. The price tag of $12,000 might seem steep to some, but consider what you're getting. A rust-free, mechanically sorted, freshly painted 3-4-ton truck that's already smog certified and registered through 2025. These D250S were indeed built to last, as the seller says. And finding one in this condition, with all this recent work, is getting harder every year. 9. We're looking at something really special. A 1974 Chevrolet El Camino that's listed for $19,000. Let me tell you, this isn't your average car truck. This is a beautifully maintained example of Chevy's iconic utility coupe that's been under the same caretaker for decades. What makes this El Camino stand out is its impressive condition and that potent 400 cubic inch V8 under the hood. These big block engines are known for their torque, and paired with the 3-speed automatic, it makes for a great cruiser. With 97,937 miles on the clock, it's clear this vehicle has been used, but not abused. The body condition is particularly noteworthy. It's straight and clean, which isn't always easy to find on these 4th-gen El Caminos. The sellers added a practical touch with a spray-in bed liner, which helps protect that immaculate bed floor. Inside, those seats look fantastic, suggesting this El Camino has been stored properly and well-maintained throughout its life. Now, let's talk about that $19,000 asking price. In today's market, for a well-preserved El Camino with the desirable 400 V8, it's actually in line with current values, especially considering its condition. These vehicles are gaining popularity among collectors, and finding one that's been under long-term ownership with good maintenance is becoming increasingly rare. 10. We're looking at a 1978 Chevy C10 with a pretty hefty price tag of $26,000. Let me be straight with you about this one. It's definitely on the higher end of the market for these trucks. The seller's keeping it pretty brief, but let's break down what we know. It's running the classic 350 V8 paired with the 350 automatic transmission, which is a reliable and popular combo in these trucks. The seller claims to have nearly $20,000 in receipts, which suggests some serious money has been invested in this build. It's wearing black paint, which can look stunning on these square-body C10s when done right. Now let's talk about that $26,000 asking price. That's serious money for a 78 C10. While these trucks have definitely appreciated in value over the past few years, this price point puts it in the territory of some really well-done examples. The seller mentions it runs, drives, and rides nice. But without more details about what that $20K in receipts covers, it's hard to fully justify the price. Look, I've got to be honest here. While this might be a beautifully built truck, the seller's not giving us much to go on. For this kind of money, you'd want to see a detailed breakdown of those receipts and really inspect the quality of work that's been done. If you're seriously interested, you'll definitely want to make that call for more info, as the seller suggests. 11. Let me tell you about this fascinating 1979 Ford Bronco XLT that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This is one of those rare finds that really gets my heart pumping, and I'll tell you why. First off, we're looking at a two-tone beauty with its original paint and sheet metal. That's becoming increasingly rare for these classic Broncos. Under the hood, you've got the mighty 460 big block V8, which the seller says fires up reliably every time. That's some serious muscle right there. It's paired with an automatic transmission, making it a comfortable daily driver if you're so inclined. The interior has received some love with fresh carpet and updates, which is always nice to see in a classic like this. Now, I've got to be straight with you. There are a few honest issues. There's some rust patina on the tailgate, and the back window mechanism isn't currently functioning. The odometer is broken too, so the actual mileage is unknown. But here's what really catches my attention. The undercarriage is reportedly very clean, which is crucial for these old Broncos, and it's still sporting its original jack and tire tools. That's some serious originality right there. The seller is asking $22,000 or best offer, which, considering the current market for classic Broncos and the fact that this is an original two-tone XLT with the big block 460, isn't outrageous. 12. I want to tell you about a really clean piece of American truck history. A 1963 GMC 1000 long bed pickup that's caught my attention on Craigslist. At $19,500, this fully restored beauty deserves a closer look. What we've got here is a classic workhorse that's been transformed into a show-worthy piece. The seller's taken this long bed pickup through a complete restoration, and it's finished in white, which really shows off those classic GMC body lines. Under the hood, you'll find the original inline-six engine paired with a manual 4-speed transmission. That's the kind of authentic driving experience that really connects you with the golden age of American trucks. Now, let's be transparent about the mileage. The odometer shows 74,600, but it has rolled over, so we're looking at 174,600 plus actual miles. But here's the thing. With a complete restoration, the mileage becomes less relevant. What matters is the quality of the restoration work, and from what the seller indicates, this truck is ready for the show circuit. For someone looking for a beautifully restored classic GMC pickup that combines show-worthy looks with the authentic mechanical experience of a manual transmission, this 1963 GMC 1000 could be a solid investment. The price point of $19,500 reflects the restoration work and the current market for well-preserved classic trucks. It's a clean, honest example of why these early 60s GMCs are becoming increasingly desirable among collectors. 13. Let me tell you about this awesome 1984 Chevy K10 Silverado that's caught my eye on Craigslist. For $13,500, we're looking at a seriously clean square body that's been both preserved and upgraded in all the right ways. This K10 is rocking a 305 5.0 LV8, paired with the reliable TH350 automatic transmission, a classic powertrain combo that's proven its worth over decades. What really makes this truck stand out is its stance. It's sitting pretty on a 6-inch rough country lift kit, wrapped in massive 37X13.50 R20 Cooper SST tires. That's a serious presence on the road. What I really appreciate about this build is that it's not just for show. The seller's been using it as a daily driver, which tells us it's mechanically sound. The bed has been rhino-lined for durability, and the truck comes with both working heat and AC. That's a huge plus for a vehicle of this age. The odometer shows 88,564 miles, and the seller's got receipts for tons of new parts, which is always reassuring. For anyone looking for a well-maintained square-body Chevy that combines classic looks with modern upgrades, this K10 seems to hit all the right notes. It's got the right balance of show and go, And being a daily driver means all the systems are regularly exercised. At $13,500, considering today's market for clean, square bodies and the amount of work that's gone into this truck, it's worth a serious look for someone wanting a reliable head-turning classic 4x4. 14. Let me tell you about this interesting 1976 Ford F-250 Ranger XLT Super Cab Camper Special that's up for grabs at $5,900. I'm going to be completely honest about what we're looking at here because this truck has both its charms and its challenges. Let's start with the good stuff. You're getting a proper workhorse with the mighty 390 V8 engine paired with the bulletproof NP 435 4-speed manual transmission and a Dana 60 rear axle with 3.73 gears. The interior is surprisingly well preserved with the original seat and carpet. Working gauges and those rear jump seats look barely used. It's pretty rare to find these with such a clean interior. Now let's be upfront about the issues, because there are some. The factory AC isn't working, there's rust through above the rear wheel wells, and some electrical gremlins with the lights. The fuel tank switchover valve isn't functioning, and you're looking at mismatched tires that are just fair. The odometer shows 128,000 miles, but it's rolled over, so the actual mileage is unknown. At $5,900, you're looking at an honest working classic that needs some TLC but isn't a basket case. For someone willing to tackle the rust issues and sort out the minor mechanical needs, this could be a rewarding project, especially given how desirable these camper special super cabs are becoming. It's not perfect, but it's got potential, and the price reflects its condition fairly. 15. I want to tell you about a true project piece, a 1968 Dodge pickup that's currently listed for $6,500. And let me be completely honest with you right from the start. This is a project truck that needs serious work, but it could be worth it for the right person. This old farm truck comes with the reliable 318 V8 engine and a 3-speed manual transmission. While the engine does start and run, which is a huge plus, let's be real about its condition. This truck isn't going anywhere under its own power right now. The seller is up front that it needs to be trailered home, and the brakes need a complete overhaul. The odometer shows 41,356 miles. But on a farm truck of this age, that number should be taken with a grain of salt. What makes this interesting, despite its rough condition, is that it's all original, including those desirable original black and yellow California plates. For restoration enthusiasts, finding an all-original example, even in rough shape, can be more valuable than finding one that's been poorly modified over the years. At $6,500, you're buying a project that needs a full restoration. We're talking mechanical work, likely body work, and probably interior restoration too. But these late 60s Dodge trucks are becoming increasingly collectible, and finding an original example is getting harder each year. Just be sure to go into this with your eyes wide open. This isn't a weekend project. It's a proper restoration commitment. If you're looking for a classic Dodge truck project and aren't afraid of some serious wrench time, this could be your ticket into classic truck ownership. 16. Let me tell you about this killer 1966 Chevy El Camino that's up for grabs at $27,500. This isn't your average classic hauler. We're looking at a seriously well-built machine that combines muscle car performance with utility. Under that factory SS hood sits a monster 402 big block Chevy engine, paired with a Muncie 4-speed manual transmission. That's a dream combination for any gearhead. The drivetrain is rounded out with a stout 12-bolt rear end with 3.31 gears and a Posey traction differential, making this El Camino both fast and practical. The attention to detail here is impressive. The interior has received some thoughtful upgrades, including new carpet with Dynamat sound deadening. That's a nice touch. A console and bucket seats all installed just last summer. The knee knocker tack adds to the muscle car feel, and those dealer-installed trim packages are becoming increasingly rare to find. The tires are practically new with only 2,300 miles on them. What really catches my attention is that this isn't just a showpiece. The seller mentions it starts right up and runs great, which tells me it's been maintained and sorted out properly. Finished in blue and sporting that iconic SS hood, this El Camino represents the perfect blend of style and performance. At $27,500, considering the current market for well-built classic El Caminos, especially ones with desirable big block 4-speed combinations and documented dealer trim packages, this seems like a solid value for someone looking for a turnkey classic that can both show and go. It's one of those unique vehicles that can haul parts to a car show and then win a trophy at the same show. 17. Let me tell you about this super interesting 1969 Chevy C20 that's available for $14,500. This is one of those honest, family-owned trucks that's been properly maintained throughout its life, and I'm excited to break down what makes it special. First off, we're looking at a 350 V8-powered workhorse that's been in the same family for 2 generations. That's always a good sign when it comes to classic vehicles. The seller has been really thorough with recent maintenance, and I love seeing this level of detail. New carburetor, professionally installed and tuned. Fresh distributor components, new wire harness, spark plugs, and a complete electrical refresh with new bulbs, turn signal switch, and fuses. What's particularly appealing about this truck is that it's a California vehicle, so rust isn't a major concern, just some surface rust where paint has worn off. The mechanical foundation is solid, with good brakes and transmission, both recently serviced, and it's riding on brand new tires. The gas tank and float were replaced a couple years back, which is another big plus. At $14,500, you're getting a mechanically sound classic C20 that's ready to drive while you gradually improve its cosmetics. For someone looking for a solid classic truck platform that doesn't need immediate mechanical attention, this could be a great opportunity. The fact that it's smog exempt and has a documented family history makes it even more appealing. It's one of those trucks that you can drive and enjoy while you slowly restore it to its former glory. 18. We're diving into a classic beauty that's up for grabs on Craigslist, a 1983 Chevy C10. This vintage pickup is a real head-turner, and it could be yours for just $17,500. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The seller has provided some key details about this C10. It's rocking a gas-powered engine and has a clean title, which is always a plus. The odometer reads just 10,000 miles, but it's important to note that this could be due to the 5-digit odometer rolling over. The transmission isn't automatic, so you can cruise with ease. Under the hood, you'll find a fresh rebuild of the 350 engine paired with a 700 R4 transmission. That means you can expect some serious power and smooth shifting. The suspension has been upgraded with QA1 adjustable components, ensuring a comfortable and customizable ride. Inside the cabin, you'll appreciate creature comforts like air conditioning, power door locks, and power windows. These modern amenities make this classic truck even more enjoyable to drive. Now, I want to be straight with you. The seller hasn't mentioned anything about the overall condition of the truck, so it's crucial to inspect it thoroughly before making a decision. Look for any signs of rust, damage, or wear and tear. It's always better to have a clear picture of what you're getting into. 19. We've got a real treat for you. A 1974 Chevrolet C20 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic workhorse can be yours for just $8,000. First things first, let's talk about the rarity of this find. The seller mentions that they bought this C20 from the original owner, which is a testament to its history. With only 6,000 original miles on the odometer, this truck has been sparingly used and well preserved. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 engine, which is a reliable and powerful choice for a truck of this caliber. The transmission is a manual, giving you full control over the driving experience. And with rear-wheel drive, you can expect a classic truck feel. The exterior of this C20 is painted in a vibrant red, which is sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller describes the condition as good, so while it may have some minor imperfections, it's still a solid vehicle overall. One unique feature of this truck is the roll-up tarp, which is a rare find on a C20. This is a great addition for those who need to transport cargo and want to keep it protected from the elements. Moving on to the interior, the seller states that it's in great shape. This is impressive considering the truck's age, and it's a sign that it has been well cared for over the years. Now, let's talk about the dump bed. This is a fantastic feature for those who need a truck for work purposes. Whether you're hauling gravel, dirt, or any other materials, the dump bed makes the job a whole lot easier. 20. We've got a classic beauty that's looking for a new home, a 1957 Dodge 300 pickup truck. This one-ton workhorse is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $2,000. Now let's dive into the details. The seller mentions that this Dodge 300 has a 315 engine under the hood, which is a solid power plant for a truck of this era. However, it's important to note that the engine is currently not running. This means that the truck will need some work to get it back on the road, but it could be a great project for any Dodge enthusiast. The exterior of the truck is painted in a classic red color, which is always a popular choice for vintage vehicles. The seller describes the condition of the truck as good, but keep in mind that this is a subjective term. It's always a good idea to inspect the vehicle in person to get a better sense of its overall condition. One thing to note is that the odometer is broken, so the actual mileage of the truck is unknown. This is something to consider when evaluating the value of the vehicle and the potential scope of the project. The transmission is a manual, which is par for the course for a truck of this age. And with rear-wheel drive, you can expect a classic truck driving experience. The seller emphasizes that this Dodge 300 would be a great, solid project truck for any Dodge fan. They also mention that they will not part out the vehicle, so it's being sold as a complete package.